everybody. It's time for us to spin another flower. We'll go ahead and get started. So today my base coat is Amsterdam Titanium White mixed with a little tiny bit of Payne's Gray. So it's just a very light gray color. And I'm gonna do my base coat a little bit differently. What I started doing is pouring a little bit in the center, thinning that out, and then pouring the rest of my base coat around that just to make sure I don't have too much base coat in the center. However, on my last two pours, I ended up getting the center a little bit too thin, and that is just as bad as too much, probably worse. In any case, I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it out, spin it out to get it nice and thin, and we'll go from there. Let's give this a good torch. Let's go ahead and give this a little spin just to thin it out a little bit more and also smooth it out. All right, let me just see where we're at here. So it is a little thin. One thing I am gonna do, because this is quite thin, I did pour a little bit more in the center, but because I'm going to be using Payne's Gray on top, I want a really dark flower. I wanna try to minimize the air bubbles. So I usually pour a little more base coat around the puddle. I'm gonna actually go ahead and pour that on now so that I can make sure I get as many air bubbles as I can. I'm gonna pour this, I think, around here. All right, let's go ahead and start laying the colors. I'm starting with Payne's Gray. And I will be torching as I lay the colors down. Once again, I just want to minimize any air bubbles that might get trapped underneath. I'm going Pearl Violet on top of this. I initially was going to do red, but I changed my mind like 5 minutes ago. We're gonna do more Payne's Gray on top of this. We're gonna go silver. And yes, more Payne's Gray. And our final color will be gold. I'm gonna pour white around this. This might be a mistake, but bear with me. And I'm gonna put some more Pearl Violet on that. Just wanting to see what that looks like. The reason I do this, make those like little spikes, is because this is a 24-inch canvas, so it's a little bit bigger than the 20 inches. On the 20 inches, I don't need to, because the colors don't have very far to travel to make it to the edge. And so the colors stay put. I get a lot of nice color inside the petals. On the bigger ones, because they're spreading out so far, I tend to lose a little bit of color inside the petals. And so I'm trying to prevent that, and that's basically how I prevent that. Let's just go ahead and do the first blowout and see what happens here. That looks pretty cool, huh? I'm hoping some of that violet comes through in the petals. I see a little hint of it, I think. I don't know, but let's see. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna go here. Yeah, here, I think. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. we're gonna go that way, yeah, right here. So I'll have a little bit of a gap between these two. I'll live. Okay, I don't know what you're seeing. Like I said, I will have a gap there, but I'm okay with that as long as the other ones are tight enough. Just a little light separation here. I am gonna pour a little more base coat around here. I just wanna make sure that I do have enough on my canvas for everything to bloom out the way I want it to. Yeah, that shrunk back in because I put a little too much over there, but that's okay. It'll go back out. Well, let's go ahead and give this thing a twirl. All right, let's just keep going. Sometimes I have to twirl these 5,000 times. So let's just see what we get after a couple more. I think we're done here, okay? So I don't want to keep going. Like, I don't want to go too much. Just, well, let's go one more. I mean, it's almost there. I'm going to stop here because, you know, that one is really throwing me off, but I like everything else. So I really don't want to keep spinning and then mess all the other ones up. Let me go ahead and hit my edges before I do anything else. See, I'm tempted to take my little scraper and go take it on down, but then I think I messed some stuff up there. What do I do? What do I do? I'll tell you what I could do. I could go in after it dries because I don't think I can fix this by scraping it, to be quite frank. I think I end up making it worse. I could go in after it dries and just like connect the two. It would not take much at all. That's exactly what I'm gonna do because that looks really weird. Now, this is the part that I absolutely fear is popping the rest of the bubbles. Now, I obviously cut out a lot of the bubble popping for you all, but I torched a lot before I even laid the colors. And then I torched as I was laying the colors. And I'm just terrified I'm gonna have tons of little white dots sticking through the black, but let's see what happens. Ooh, ooh. I mean, I even made this paint 2 days ago. It's not nearly as much as I thought, so not nearly as much as I thought. I do get some nice purple. I'm always left wanting more pearl violet, what I use pearl violet. I got some nice streaks of it going through there. There's a nice little hint of it actually in this petal right here. It did get a little bit lost in some of these. I know I have this gap here and that's fine. I blew that out intentionally because I wanted to make sure that the other petals weren't so far apart and then it would just really look weird. I actually dig this. Even that ugly thing, that will be fixed. I just can't do it while it's wet. It's a very small area that I can shade to, first of all, connect those two so it looks a little bit more cohesive and then do a little shading in there and we're gonna be fine. Like that is really all that it will need. All the other ones, I really like them. I think that they're really pretty. All right, everybody, I'm gonna go ahead and take the camera down, get a better look at this thing, see if there's any changes I need to make to the actual composition, and we will be back. So this turned out really nice. I am very happy with it. Yes, I was a little bit stingy with my base coat, but it all worked out. I do wish I had a little bit more of that pearl violet. I'm hoping that as it dries, it draws more of that color out. Here's a little hint of it right there. But overall, I do like this little flower. I hope you all enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day.